This is Dan Jurgens, and if you want to have a good time, keep listening to the Krypton Report.
Jason J. Lewis, the voice of Superman on Justice League Action, and you're listening to the Krypton Report.
Hi, this is David Patrick Wilson. I played Superman, Clark Kent, in the television production of It's a Bird, It's a Plane, enjoying every minute of being right here on the Krypton Report.
Welcome to the Krypton Report. I am your host, Tyler, the Superman of Blue, the Man of Tomorrow. And with me is always the Man of Steel, the guy in red, Mr. James Cole. What's up, buddy?
Hey, what's going on? How you doing?
I'm okay, except I have hiccups, so I don't know where they came from. But if anyone out there is like, what's with this guy if I keep disappearing? We have a special guest today. This man needs no introduction. The chief himself of the Daily Planet, Mr. Zack Benz. Welcome back, Zack.
Thanks.
You're
Happy
welcome.
to be back. I try to be modest, and that intro was not.
Yeah, it's okay. It's okay. We met. So Zack and I.
Tyler tries very hard not to be humble
Yeah.
in his introductions. So
I always think back to A Knight's Tale. But Zack and I actually got to meet this year, so it was cool. We got to meet for a little bit in Metropolis, and it's just one of those. Yeah, it's just one of those cool things when you talk to someone online and you build up a rapport, and then you meet them in person. And it's like not awkward. So
yeah, you're much taller in person than I expected.
Thank you. The one thing I have going for me, height. Until I meet somebody that's taller than me, then I'm like, shoot.
Yeah.
It's like, what are you eating, Miracle Grow? But you'll have that. But anyways, today's episode, we're here first at the top of the episode. Zack's got some cool news he wants to share.
Oh.
Zack, would you go ahead and drop that to the audience?
Yeah. A week ago tomorrow, I submitted paperwork to establish the Daily Planet as a legitimate business in the state of Minnesota.
Woo, woo.
Yeah.
awesome.
So now it's Daily Planet LLC.
So we're all moving to Minnesota to join up with the team.
Yeah.
And
I mean, we're not quite there yet, but hopefully one day,
Hey, that's the dream, man. It's just little by little,
Yeah.
Little things that build upon. You can't just overnight it,
No.
As much as you wish you could and you want to, you can't.
No, I mean, I've been at it for like 11 years now, so
yeah, that's a while. Small goals,
Yeah.
all the achievements along the way.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm happy to have you bring this news here today, man. That's awesome. I'm excited. It's been a pleasure and an honor to get to work and have some things drop on the Daily Planet. So
yeah, you never get used to seeing your byline under the globe masthead.
nope, not at all.
No.
Not at all. I bought a Perry White action figure this year. I tracked one down used on eBay, open because it was much cheaper since Solomon was playing Perry White. So we need to get us a Zack Benz action figure right here. Just like looking at us like this, like
I'm not quite the leadership Perry White is. Like I have a much softer approach.
I mean, I think Perry is just a complicated character.
Yeah.
Because very much in his early stages, Perry was very J. Jonah Jameson.
Yeah.
But I mean, J. Jonah Jameson was like Perry, but since I feel that the J. Jonah Jameson character has become much bigger currently, that people won't think of it like that and think of it the other way. So, but today's episode, we're going to talk about Zack's favorite Superman-based character.
Favorite character of all time, actually.
And that is Miss Lois Lane. So crap, I don't have my tablet. I have to go grab it. So, Lois, dang it, Sayla, your cat. Lois Lane is one of, I think, the greatest female characters in fiction.
Mhm.
I think that there's never really been a horrible version of Lois Lane. And I think that she's a great aspirational character for females as much as Superman is for everyone. And I mean, even males for Lois Lane. But I say that because, as a father of a daughter and seeing in my daughter a lot of strength and independence that I don't want anyone to ever beat out of her or put her down for. I think Lois is a character that shows that you can be a strong, powerful woman and still be loved by a great man or a great person. So, but what is it about Lois that just really makes her your favorite, Zach?
Oh, I think the list would be shorter if I said, I don't even know how to start answering that question.
Fair.
There's this panel where she is talking to Clark and a group of other reporters, and it's from the 70s. And I think that sums up why I love her the most perfectly. I'm going to paraphrase here. I can't remember it verbatim, but she says she has a duty as a journalist to expose the truth, expose injustices, bring justice to those who sometimes are forgotten. And it's such a more relatable aspect of the Superman world that I really appreciate. And the fact that she is this human woman, but the most powerful person in the universe respects her, just it's like shows her character and her strength, and that's just the tip of the iceberg why I love her. Oh geez.
I always love the fact that Lois, for her journalism, and that's why I think the journalism aspect for Clark is just as important for his character. It's not just an afterthought, that he's doing just because he's Superman. But I always thought his it really just shows his love for Lois, that he looks up to her like a superhero for all that she is and does.
She treats Superman as an equal and demands that he does the same, and it reminds him, hey, I might be able to push a planet out of orbit, but that doesn't necessarily mean it's the right thing to do. She grounds him so well, and yeah, and she was a great role model for me growing up when I was struggling a lot with the lack of female role models in my life. I was raised by my grandparents and had a lot of tension with my mother growing up. In a lot of ways, I looked up to Lois through that time. And I think a lot of my fandom is rooted in that.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
So my next question kind of comes from the idea of, what did you think of the portrayal of Lois in Superman 2025? And also, just what did you think of the film in general?
I loved the movie. It felt like watching the animated series in live action mixed in with a lot of like components from Smallville and Superman the movie and Superman from the past. Like it was like a great big melting pot, and then a comic book brought to life on my screen. My only issue with it isn't really an issue. It's that we didn't get enough Daily Planet screen time with all of the characters, and that's a good issue to have in a movie, because I wanted more, which meant that they did it right in the first place with the short amount of time they did have it.
Mm-hmm.
But I think a lot of the movie's strength in grounding it was with the Daily Planet staff and Clark's interpersonal relationships with everybody on the team. I wish we would have gotten to see more, and we are going to see more, but I'm impatient.
Yeah. Well, I mean, with that, ultimately, it is Lois Lane. It is the Daily Planet staff that takes down Lex Luthor.
I know, and I
Superman's
love
the one who stops Ultraman.
Yeah.
By sending him into the black hole, but it's Lois Lane and the Daily Planet staff, primarily Lane and Jimmy, there but they're the ones responsible for Lex Luthor being exposed.
I loved their dynamic, Lois and Jimmy working together. I've craved that kind of relationship since the early seasons of Lois and Clark, and the seasons where Jimmy and Lois were together on Smallville, and we just haven't had a well-rounded live-action staff since maybe the 90s, but even then they didn't have Ron Troop and Steve Lombard on the staff, and
the Cat was discarded after a season.
I know, and she was great on that.
I think Kat had a lot of chance for growth to just show her different sides on the show, but I agree. If I don't have any complaints with the film, other than I think it could have easily needed another 20 minutes to just let it breathe, let some scenes play out a little bit. There's a lot of scenes where we're not seeing the before, we're just kind of being dropped into the now, the action. So that is the Daily Planet. I feel like I got just enough of the Justice Gang, but I feel like the Daily Planet staff is, like you said, where I get upset because Ron Troop, I don't even think has a line in the entire movie.
No,
and you don't even know who he is except for the line, "Troop, come on." He
was on the actor who played Ron Troop, Christopher McDonald. Is that right?
Yeah.
He was on a podcast that we host on the Daily Planet too, similar to your podcast. And he was talking about some of the deleted scenes he had. He had some interactions with Clark when Clark initially entered the Daily Planet, and he talked about how the bullpen, that whole scene was one continuous scene up until Clark getting to his desk. And I would have loved to see that.
And that's what I'm hoping that maybe we get when we get the physical release.
Maybe there'll be a extended cut on there.
Well, I told James, I'm surprised that before they released it on digital, they didn't do one of those see Superman again in theaters now with 10 more minutes, like we've seen before, where they'll do stuff like that, because and just do that last big push to get people to come back to the theater, to pump up those numbers, add 10, 15 more minutes in there, and
go 4 more times.
Oh yeah, I mean, I was debating whether or not to go again, but I ended up buying it on digital.
Unfortunately, I can't go again. If I go to the movies, I gotta take Jamie to go see Fantastic Four.
That's a good one.
It is a good one, and she wants to see it. So, and that's all I can say.
I really enjoyed the movie. I just wish the two wishes I have is I wish it was a little bit longer, and by the length, I wish it would give the Daily Planet characters more to do. Um, and I wish that the other thing that really bothered me is I really wish we would have seen the fight between him and the Hammer of Baravia. So we
Oh,
would have got we would have started off with a classic Clark Kent lame excuse to get away,
yeah,
and then we would have seen him run off, and we wouldn't have got a shirt rip, but we would have seen him go off somewhere to change and then go out there to fight and really see him get beat, because even if it would have been a flashback, just or him stopping the war in Jar Emperor, those are two amazing sounding scenes that aren't in there.
Yeah.
But okay, so to reframe, how did you feel about Lois's portrayal?
She's great. She, Rachel Brosnahan as Lois Lane. She not only looks like she's ripped right out of the comics, but I did not see the Marvelous Miss Maisel or any of her previous projects because I was afraid that would influence my my opinion on her portrayal. Similar to because in the previous universe, Amy Adams played Lois, and she did play Lois great, but all I saw was Amy Adams playing Lois, or previous characters Amy Adams has playing Lois,
Like
and that
the
was
fat sucking vampire from Smallville.
yes, that's all I could see, and I'm like, she's such a great actress, but I want to see someone new.
Right. So you're going in where you feel like this is the character.
Yep.
Because you have no reference. And I get that. I respect that. I did watch.
Now that you've seen her as Lois, though,
Yeah.
I do recommend Marvelous Miss Maisel.
Okay.
And I've only watched what have we watched? A handful of episodes so far, and it is okay, whatever. And it's really good.
I watched the pilot, and as I was watching the pilot, Jania came in and I told her, "Hey, I'm watching." She's like, "What are you watching?" And I told her, and I was like, "I'm watching this because this girl actress just got cast as Lois, and I just want to see her." And then Jania watched the pilot, caught the end of it. It was hilarious because Jania literally walked in at the end of the pilot. And if you know what I'm talking about, you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
So of course my wife's like, "What are you watching?" And then I have to explain it. And then that never happens again, which is hilarious in the first place. And then so we watched the whole series, and I really like seasons 1 and 2. Not a fan of the last season. I did not like how they did the last season. And then as far as David goes, had you seen anything with David in it?
I saw Twisters, but he was hardly in that. And I saw Pearl. I did not know he was in that when I went to go watch that. And I watched The Politician when it first came out. And Hollywood. I guess I've seen a lot of stuff before David, before with David. But I didn't expect him to be Superman. So
I had seen Pearl, and then we saw Twisters, and yeah, he's not in it that much. But
yeah.
Jania and I did go and watch Hollywood because
Okay.
once again I was going to just watch the pilot, just like, okay, I want to see him act. And from his first time speaking, I was like, I like his voice.
Yeah, it's got that old timey Superman voice that you just expect from the old radio shows.
Yeah.
Yeah, he does. Yeah, the only thing I'd seen him in was Pearl and Twisters, and I mean that's very off. That's a very different character than those. Both are very different characters than Superman. So, he wasn't in either one like a particularly large amount, but
no. But to circle back to your question about her portrayal as Lois Lane, I loved that they had her saving him. They had her fighting the Justice Gang to even get off their asses and go do something. She was sarcastic when she needed to be, witty when it was appropriate.
Vulnerable.
The vulnerable to strong, brilliant, connecting the dots and working with Jimmy to get this groundbreaking story about Metropolis's most high-ranking citizen being a traitor out there. Not batting an eye when she is ready to reveal the truth. And there's that, like you said, there's this vulnerability about her, but there's also this strength and resolve behind her. And then there was she wasn't perfect, and like, she has relationship issues. She was not ready to, like, she was afraid of the feelings she was having for Superman, and all of this stuff just, it made me want to see more of her as Lois, and it made me very proud to be a fan of Lois, especially after seeing new generations of fans coming on TikTok and talking about how they loved Lois in the movie, and that just makes me feel like the character was represented perfectly.
And that's what's important, is that people see this character and see what they are. I mean, so I went and I opened up and I read some of the 75th anniversary, the big collection of Lois Lane stories they had, and
this one,
that's an awesome one. It might be the same one, just different cover. And there was one where it showed Lois. This is Siegel Schuster Lois. She literally slipped some drug in Clark's drink to make him sleep.
Hey, yep.
I was like, oh my gosh, Lois.
To go expose a fake Superman because she was not having it with Clark. Just like, I think this is the same. Yeah. That's
awesome that you knew exactly which one I was talking about.
Yeah. I'm a big fan. I have quite a few.
I love that. Because my other favorite Loisism is actually in the serials, where Lois Lane, played by Noelle Neal, reports her car stolen after giving Clark the keys to her car to use, and he gets pulled over while she beats him to a story.
Yep.
And I was like, oh my gosh, that's so harsh.
That's dirty pool, man.
I love it. I love it.
Well, yeah, I mean, in the issue, would you say she drugged him?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It is fun to read those old stories because there's always a friction between Clark and Lois.
Yeah.
But that really the love side did not blossom for a while.
It didn't blossom for a while, but right there in the beginning, Clark was interested. He talks about trying to date her for months, and she wasn't. She wouldn't even talk to him because of that first date they went out on where he smashed up a car.
Yep. Her attitude towards him, I feel like, especially towards Clark, makes Superman feel normal.
Yeah.
And I think that's why he fell for her too, because she made him feel like he belonged.
I'm sitting there thinking, so let me see how I can word this. Okay. I think James Gunn did a great job with this film with the characters, but I really think it needs a little bit longer. Now, I'm working on an editing project on my computer where I'm editing Peacemaker all together as like one movie. Okay. Just because I like to do crap like that. I'm also editing some scenes for my kids to see because my daughter loves John Cena as Peacemaker, even though she's barely seen anything. And I say that because I'm watching the way it's directed, but also like the story is the way the camera works. You can go from one episode to the other without, if you take out the credits and then the music, because of how the music kind of tails off into the credits at the end of an episode, you can go from an episode to an episode without realizing, because it feels like it's made to be one long story that's just broken up. Like there's edits I've made of just taking the beginning of one episode and the end of another and putting the other, that you wouldn't know that that's what it did. You would just think it's transitioned to the next shot. And I say that because I feel like that's what I would have liked to have seen from this film a little bit, because I do love these characters. I think Rachel does a lot with the very little she gets in the film, to establish her Lois, to establish this, to establish these dynamics. You know, like one of my favorite lines that she has is when she's like, yeah, Jimmy, I really think his parents named him the Hammer of Baravia.
Yep. Instantly skeptical. Just trusting her instincts right off the bat.
So,
and the same sarcasm translates when Clark is saying, yeah, Superman did say that that he thought he was faking a Baravian accent.
Great guy.
Yeah. Oh, I love that.
Okay. So as a Lois Lane fan, what do you think, comic or live action, your favorite Lois Lane moment?
Moment?
Mm-hmm. Or action, like scene, something. Comic or live action?
Oh, you really put me on the spot here. Oh gosh.
I know it's I'm a hard hitting.
I'll give you. I was gonna say I'll give you a second. I got just a modern one that we recently discussed that I enjoyed.
All right, James, you go.
It's just a modern one that came to mind recently. It is in the last issue of Superman where Lois was concerned about the way Clark would feel without her without her powers, and then how he was with her, feeling how concerned with how she feels now not having powers, and her saying that she likes being who she is. Like she enjoyed the powers, but she's good being Lois Lane. She's good doing what she does, and not just having to be Superwoman. And that really is that's a strong moment in their dynamic, in the dynamic of their relationship. She's always been strong in his eyes, and his only concern with her not having her powers is how she feels now not having her powers, and them not talking about that right away.
Mm-hmm.
And that's how the issue ended. That was a nice moment. It was a really good one from the comics.
Yeah.
I've boiled it down to 3 moments.
Do
2
it.
are live action and 1 is comics.
I'll allow it.
Okay, my comic book one is when Doomsday and Superman are fighting at the stoop of the Daily Planet before Superman's death. And she's there watching the whole thing unfold and doesn't know that Doomsday's dead, runs to him when they both have fallen to go embrace him to make sure that he's okay. And that moment before his death, I think, is one of my favorite in comic books. My 2 versions of live action, I'd have to say my first one is the rooftop scene with Bitsy Tulloch's Lois Lane talking to the judge, being vulnerable and sharing that she discovered she has breast cancer. My cousin passed away from breast cancer just a few years before I've seen that scene. I was a wreck in that scene, and the strength she still showed in that scene was, I think it's unmatched. And that's why I beat out my previous one, which is Erica Durance as Lois Lane. There are 2, I guess, that come to mind that are my favorite in that. But I'm going to talk about the time she interrupted a press conference with Metropolis city council person or somebody who was trying to besmirch the Blur, and she stood up there and talked about how everybody has the talent to be heroes, and how she was inspiring with her words. I loved that. I'm going to stop myself there because I could go on and on.
No,
But,
no. I mean,
yeah.
it's a hard thing to try to pick your favorite moments or whatever from your favorite characters. And
Yep.
I think as Lois continues to grow as a character and becomes more and more, I mean, she already is to us like more prominent in the Superman mythos. I think it's important that we do reflect on what she's done. I mean, her history of being based off Jerry Siegel's wife, and the
Joan.
fact,
Yeah.
it's Joan. The fact that, or Joanne. Now I'm second guessing.
It might be Joanne because that's Lois's middle name, and
Yep, it is. I had to think. I was like, wait. And then the story that Joe Shuster actually had a crush on her too. Like it just kind of makes it kind of sad and Shakespearean. But,
yeah. I think if we all think about it, we could probably pick our favorite moment from just about every Lois Lane. At least all the ones that we've all seen. So,
I mean, it's been a good time for Lois as a character. I mean, we have Rachel's portrayal, but not only that, we had Bitsy's, but then we also had My Adventures with Superman's Lois as a younger, different kind of Lois, but still a strong, powerful character.
Mm-hmm.
So heck, I just got to see Erica again because I was just showing Jamie CW's Crisis on Infinite Earths. So she got to watch the first 2 episodes, and getting to see Erica play both Allura and Lois. My daughter's name's Allura.
Oh, that's nice.
It is.
I love that name.
Well, just as a history lesson here, one of the names that I proposed when we were going to name Sayla was Feora. And if I would have named my daughter Feora and James would have Laura, we got Kryptonian females, like, because for some reason I want to name my daughter after a villainess, but
Kryptonian names are beautiful, so I understand the temptation.
I thought it was dope.
I have no children, and my dog's name is Grace, so
nice.
I'm not as cool as you guys.
It's okay.
No biggie.
My dog's names are Crypto, Scooby, and Mira.
Scooby, I love that.
Yeah. Sayla named Scooby.
Yeah,
she
loves Scooby.
That's my first fandom.
I love Scooby Doo.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
James Gunn should save Scooby Doo. I'm just going to say because he wrote the first 2 films, he should write a 3rd film or at least produce one for Warner Brothers. Like, we need a new good Scooby Doo.
Make it canon in the DC universe.
I don't care. Yeah, I don't care. Do it.
How many times has Scooby Doo crossed over with Batman?
5.
And he just Scooby Doo and Crypto too recently. So
I loved it. I just wish Crypto would have talked in that movie. Because we were watching the Crypto cartoon series, and he talks in that, and he has this caller as a voice translator. And then we watched Scooby Doo and Crypto 2, and I'm like, okay, you already have a talking dog. It wouldn't have been too far out of the realm for us to have 2 talking dogs talk to each other, but whatever. So Zach, which Lois is your favorite?
Erica Durance.
Okay. I mean, there's only one right. I mean, there's only one wrong answer, but.
Oh, who's the wrong answer?
I'm not saying right now. We'll get there eventually.
Oh okay.
It could be somebody's first Lois, though.
Yeah, it could be.
Yeah. I have 3. It goes Erica Durance, Bitsy Tulloch, and then Dana Delaney's animated Lois Lane from Superman the Animated Series.
We were talking recently, like, good.
Sorry, they're only ranked that way over Rachel because I did love Rachel's portrayal, but I've only seen her in about an hour's worth of footage. Those ones are literally, they span years of playing Lois, so it's hard to trump them.
I agree.
Yeah.
I think, you have to, with TV, like especially with Superman, because there's been a lot of television
Hmm.
that we got, just looking at TV as itself, you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 live action Lois Lanes just in television.
That sounds
Right.
about right. There was
Would you count the serials? Do you know?
No, so Noelle Neal, because she's on the Adventures of Superman.
Yep.
You
Phyllis Coates.
Phyllis Coates was on the Adventures, and then you jump to Terry Hatcher,
Yeah.
Erica
And then
Durant,
Erica
Bitsy
Durant.
Tulloch.
Bitsy.
That's 5 live action just in TV.
You're right.
So I mean, and then when you look at film, you have
on film. I think Rachel might be the best though.
on film, yeah. In the movie,
agree. In movies, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, 4. So I mean, even then, and then if you want to be like me and count everything as canon, you have the TV movie of the musical. There's another Lois to throw out there. So I mean, we have a lot, and okay, let's just talk about each one. We'll start there at the history. We'll kind of talk about, since we're kind of talking about Lois's overall, the animated Superman the animated series Lois Lane. I really love Dana Delaney's Lois Lane.
Mm-hmm.
My only issue, and we talked about this a little bit recently, is they never really develop her and Clark's relationship.
No, I think that might be in part because it was a children's show, so they never really thought, let's expand on this.
Yeah, they only had hints and flirting.
Yeah, you only saw more of their relationship develop in the Justice League cartoons that came afterwards, especially in the Justice League Unlimited series, where they're going on date stuff. But it still alluded to the fact that she's totally and blissfully unaware that he and Clark are the same person.
Mm-hmm.
And that drives me nuts.
Yeah. Yeah, that trope died a long time ago, and they can't work together and Lois Lane be the smartest person as smart as she is and not know.
Yeah, that's why I loved that they had her realize already in the current universe that Superman and Clark are the same person.
Oh, who are you? Tyler left, man.
Tyler's gone. Hi, I'm Johnny.
I like your hypno glasses.
He's Johnny. It's Johnny.
Yeah. That's why I loved it, Superman and Crypto 2, where Velma drops her glasses and like, who are you?
Yeah.
They're like, so we'll hit on some anime, then we'll go to live action. But what do you think about Lois's portrayal on My Adventures of Superman?
Great. She's a young cub reporter finding her bearings, and it's great to kind of see in some shape or form her origin story as well as Superman's. They're kind of on a parallel journey in that show, and I love that she's so involved, if that makes sense.
Oh yeah, it does make sense.
It has such an anime vibe that I like. I like the way that they are able to push her, because Lois has a trait where she is so, especially early on when in their relationship and everything, before she actually, gets into a relationship with Clark or finds out that he's Superman or anything. She has a tendency to go after a story no matter what, and people sometimes get caught in the middle and hurt in the process of her. It's kind of like her drugging Superman or drugging Clark, or back in the Golden Age. So
I mean, she's a woman. She had to do what she had to do back in the 40s.
Right. So, but she, and they do that with her really well in the animated series too. In My Adventures with the how anime it is, the way the way they're able to portray the characters and the relationships. But yeah, it's really good. I enjoy Lois Lane a lot in the show.
It's a side of Lois we haven't got to see ever. So that's why I think she's so great too, is she's so original while also pulling from the vein of Lois Lane, or as the show pulls and teases, the League of Lois Lanes.
I'm about to say, I love the League of Lois. Me and the kids just recently rewatched season 1, and the League of Lois Lanes is great how they pay homage to all the different iterations.
I screamed like a little fangirl when I saw that. I was just like, and I paused it. And I was like, I know where that one's from. I know where that one's from. And then when they showed Dana Delaney's Lois Lane, I was just like, my 90s child self was just so giddy.
There's been different versions of with all the different animated movies they've done. We've had a couple of different animated versions of Lois, but I do want to give a shout out to Rebecca Romaine and her Lois Lane that she did, in basically the death and return of Superman. I really liked her portrayal.
Wasn't she and the Superman voice actor married in real life?
Yeah, her and Jerry O'Connell are married. Yeah.
And I think you feel that connection, and
you do.
If I'm not mistaken, which sometimes I am, I think the voice actors for the Super Sons movie, who did Lois and Clark, are married as well. I could be wrong, but
I've only seen that movie twice.
I really enjoyed it. We watched it not this past year, but the year before on Father's Day. My wife had not seen it. Okay. Go ahead.
I don't know. I think it's the animation style for me that kind of takes me.
It is a little like it took a moment to kind of adapt to. All right. So now let's start with the original OG, Noelle Neal.
Great. She is from Minnesota, from Minneapolis.
Nice.
I love her. Which is where we're based. I probably should mention that.
Well, yeah. No. So,
yeah, the Daily Planet in Minneapolis, Minnesota. That's really cool to have a business called the Daily, publishing the Daily Planet. That's really awesome.
I know. It's up and away from here.
As it should be. I think Noelle Neal represents I think she's great as Lois, and she's a little bit different in the serials than she would be later on the Adventures with Superman.
Yep.
And I think she's really great in her portrayal as Lois, as being very comic accurate, but also the first live action iteration is always hard because she's really putting a stamp, and what she does is really going to carry over and carry through.
I'm not familiar with the year those came out. Is it like
48?
The characters weren't, as they weren't very old, so she had a little bit of flexibility with where to bring the character, and I think that showed in her portrayal. She brought a little bit of soft sass to the character in the serials that I liked a lot.
Honestly, I think she's the best part of the serials.
Yeah.
Like Kirk is okay, and we've talked about him with being the first portrayal of Superman and stuff. But I think Noelle Neal is probably the best part of the serials. Her, and then second would be Lyle Talbot as the first version of Luthor.
I have not seen all of the serials. I've seen the first two, and I could not find where to watch the others.
I bought them years ago when DC. I say this all the time. I miss DC Universe
I do too. That's why
because
I watched them on.
they put everything on there that was DC, like, and having the back library of the serials of Superman, Shazam, having Wonder Woman
Wonder Woman.
77, having the Superboy TV series, the Adventures with Superman, all the stuff that's older that you wouldn't naturally be like promoting, but just having it there to fall like was great. And then the animated films, and then everyone's like, oh, they're just gonna put it on Max.
Yeah.
And we saw what happened. They put a lot on there, but then slowly they didn't put everything, and then they slowly took things off, and then they put it on other streamers and went back to kind of being like before, where there's a large chunk on Max, but not everything's there.
Yeah.
So I miss the old DC Universe app.
Yeah, it was like our own little private club.
Yes, it was. Reading comics
DC,
on my TV.
Absolutely, that was awesome. Kicking back on the couch, reading comics on the TV. My DC Universe app dates back to September 2018 when it first launched. Mine is a day one account that has never been been deactivated or.
Can you still go on the app?
Well, now it's just all.
Now it's just a reader. Yeah, now it's just.
You're making me think that you had like the app stored on a former device that you could just.
Right.
They just changed it up.
That would be amazing. No, but my DC Universe, it says when your membership began, and mine was.
After that, I just started buying physical again. I was like, I'm not subscribing to you if you're gonna take away everything I pay for.
Yeah, that was sad, but $100 a year for like unlimited comics. It's.
I remember when I told Janine how much I paid for it for a year, and she got frustrated. But then I was like, and then I told her like, so today I've read about $60 worth of comics already. She's like, for real? And I was like, yeah, because these books were like $4.99.
Yeah,
and I'm like,
it was launched in October, and by the new year, I had read over $400 worth of comics.
And I'm like, if you read,
I was like, that's worth it.
I was in college when it launched, so I didn't really have that much time.
It was just me and my two kids, so
I read a little bit every night. I'll read a book or two as like my wind down for bed. All right, moving on.
You're making me want to subscribe again, and I was so upset that they did what they did.
We love our physical media, and I still get trades and stuff, but I just can't buy the issues over and over. All the time. I can't afford it. So
I can't afford it
big help when it comes to that. So I'm glad I can do that. I'm glad it's an option right now.
So Phyllis Coates, I used to not like because I was a dumbass. And a lot of it's because I didn't have as much exposure to her. But I said this one day, until Rachel, I think Phyllis Coates was the best on film Lois Lane. Because I really have issues with the others. But I really like Phyllis Coates. And I'm sad that she left after only one season.
What was up with that? Rumors on that?
I do, but I cannot think of it right now. I have enough books around here I could pull from, and I just can't think of what it was. But I really did like her as Lois. I think she was strong. She was more brass. She was more in your face and independent. But then they always did have to, like, they made George a little bit too parental. So it made her Lois sometimes come off like she clashed with him.
That was just a sign of the times too. It suffered from that.
I did like that her Lois returns, or not. She returns in Lois and Clark as Lois's mom.
I know. I think that was No, that's not the first case of legacy acting in a Superman title. The first case was Noel Neill
And Kirk
coming
Allen.
back, and Kirk Allen coming back in and being Lois's parents on the train in Superman the movie.
And that is one reason I'm not a fan of Superman the movie, the theatrical cut, because the theatrical cut, you don't see them. You don't get Noel Neal's line about Lois Lane, you're over, or even see Kirk Allen. Like that's in the director extended or whatever it is cut,
Yeah.
the one that has the gauntlet. So now we jump ahead to Margot Kidder.
A staple in the Lois Lane mythos.
Yes.
But not my favorite.
Not mine either. She works well in Superman the movie with some diminishing returns after that.
Yeah.
After
Superman
reading
2,
some Golden
okay.
Age, yeah. After reading some more Golden Age, especially getting into the Lois Lane, the collection, I think she definitely fit a bit more of that that mold from before, with a little of the modern 70s woman in there.
Would you give me a hamburger? Hamburger, yeah, with extra pickles at 8 a.m. Yeah, go. It's like
the smoking thing started with her too, and I didn't like that that Lois, who was an example for so many people, including myself, was smoking on the rooftop.
right.
Yeah. Because that carried over, because of the iconicism of that movie, that carried over into Superman Returns and Smallville, and
we're gonna talk about that in the future, because I've been talking about a lot about how much before the release of Superman, how much what you do in a film matters for the mythos.
Yes.
And how much Richard Donner's team changed certain aspects of the Superman mythos for that film, and it became staple. So we're going to do a whole episode in the future that looks at each like live action media and what do they add to the mythos that's continued on.
Yes. That sounds like a fun season run you're going to do.
So Margot, I don't hate Margot Kidder. I like her, but I don't love her. She has some great scenes and does some great things in Superman the movie. Like I said, with her health and her drug problem, the diminishing returns of the latter projects, and her choices in Superman 2. But that's just listen to our commentaries on Superman 2 to hear me complain about those. The next live action Lois would be technically it would be Leslie Ann Warren in the musical movie, but we'll skip over that and we'll go to Terry Hatcher.
Terry Hatcher, one of the most beautiful Lois Lanes out there. As a gay
I have
man,
He's like even I'm like, hey, it's okay. That's how Jay's does when he talks about Henry Cavill. He gets all flushed in the face.
Yeah, it is. And I'm a straight man, so.
I think Terry Hatcher's Lois is perfect in so many aspects.
Yeah.
I don't think there's anything wrong with her Lois at all. I think she found the perfect balance, especially that first season and season 2, and with any TV, sometimes the farther you go, especially back then where like you had 22 episodes and, you have to find things for these characters to do. I think the latter seasons, her Lois struggled, just the show, the characters struggled, period. But
I mean, I could have done without the whole clone eating frogs.
Frog eat, yep. Mm-hmm. Me and Anthony Desiato had a whole conversation on that.
Oh, I've heard. I listened to that episode and I was like, yes, say it again.
She's a fantastic Lois.
Yeah, I do wish, we would have got a neat tie-up at the end for their relationship, like them having they had that kid. But also I was like, I kind of like how it ended. It was like and they lived happily ever after kind of moment.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The and I think her I'm very nostalgic for that show. I was young, watched that with between that and Sequest DSV, watching both of those with my mom. Growing up, I watched both those shows. I loved them. But watching her Lois Lane, especially in those the first and second season, she's a prime example of that Lois Lane who is so overzealous to get that story, kind of no matter the cost, that she hurts the people she's close to.
Yeah, but you see her develop from that to someone who cares about others.
Exactly. Yeah.
That character development was really fun to watch. I was going to say something and now I kind of you mentioned it was your nostalgic show. You watched it when you were a kid.
Mm-hmm.
I did not see that show until the app came out, and that was my first experience with the show, and I loved it. I
Oh,
was
wow.
watching
Okay.
it while I was going to college, working at the comic book store that in Duluth, Minnesota, nobody really visited it, and so I would just sit at my desk and go through Magic the Gathering cards that were
Nice.
brought in,
Yeah.
and watching that show on my iPad, and I loved every minute of it. It was so fun to watch at that part of my life. So I get the nostalgia part
Yeah.
now. It's just from a different time in my life.
Yeah.
that was one.
It was really good. And not for anything, there's so many good people, good characters, good actors playing characters in that show.
Yep.
Even changing the way they did from one Jimmy to another.
Yep.
Both of them were great.
Yeah.
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 You're talking about, I joke all the time, like when Sequest DSV was out, my mom always wanted to watch Sequest DSV more so than Lois and Clark. Even we went back and forth and we'd fight over it. Then, Sequest got canceled and I was like, yes, no more fighting. But like I watched all of season 1 of Lois and Clark, 2, and then the latter 2 seasons, like when it was airing, it was one of those things like I'd missed, because you're younger and sometimes the parents would change the channel and we didn't have a TV in every room or whatever. And there was a time before apps and computers, kids, where you could watch stuff on, streaming. But I remember when that famous night of me getting off work and going to Walmart when Superman Returns was coming out, and they had that big kiosk setup thing and display, and they had where they put out like all the shows, at least the first season on DVD. They had Superboy, Lois and Clark, The Adventures of Superman, and then of course all of Smallville, and just buying the first season of Lois and Clark and going home. And I was working late and everything. So I get home, I get off at 11, and I come home and I'd watch a couple episodes, and it was just nice to relive that show at that time. And then of course I bought the whole seasons, but Terry Hatcher's great.
Yeah, I remember when I was 17 or 18 and I discovered that they were playing the syndicated reruns on
TNT
really early in the morning. So yeah, I would get up early in the morning and watch Lois and Clark before I would go to work.
So chugging along, our next Lois would be Erica.
The best.
And I love Erica's Lois. And I've listened to, of course, Anthony and Zach Moore talk about it. And in a lot of ways, I feel like her Lois is great when they finally let her be Lois in the last 3 seasons.
Yep.
But even then, like they're still holding her back a little bit. And in the earlier seasons, they're like, she's Lois, who's blonde, but we don't know what to do with her.
See, and that's okay. You can have wrong opinions.
It's the perfect example of casting someone so great that you love the energy and everything she brings, and then realizing, oh crap, we don't know what to do with this character.
She's just one of those actors who has great chemistry with everybody, and I think that's what was the saving grace for like the finale and the final season in general was her being 100% Lois Lane in every episode. Because with I'm sorry, I'm a big fan of this Lois Lane.
No, bring it.
With
Bring it.
every episode she was in, like I didn't hop on board on Smallville until season 4 when it was playing on ABC Family with the reruns, and I watched they only played certain ones
Which
during
was
a
weird.
marathon, yeah, and so it wasn't like I was. It was in chronological order, but they were skipping some of chunks in the middle of the season. It was summertime. It was a marathon, but I wasn't complaining because I was reintroduced to a new version of Superman that I fell in love with and inspired, all of this crap that's in my apartment. But with every episode that Erica's Lois was in, I didn't even mind she was blonde, she just radiated Lois Lane to me. She was finding herself. And I did have to get past her knowing Clark Kent as this Clark Kent before the Daily Planet Clark Kent. But you had to do that with a lot on that show. So you grew into that shift that you had to do. But I loved Erica's portrayal because not only was she a strong, powerful, independent woman on that show, there's a hint of destiny throughout that whole series, and having Lois join in to me made me feel like Clark wasn't the only lonely one on that show until their lines of destiny intertwined, like that one character on the show jokes about with Jimmy. She kicks ass, and then when she hits this milestone with becoming a journalist, in season, I think it's season, she plays around at the Smallville Torch, but then I think later on in season 6 she goes to that fight club, and you would really see Lois as Lois, and you just cheer her on.
Yeah.
And I know she wasn't supposed to be a series regular either, but people loved her so much that she became one. And so I think that's where you're getting in and saying like, oh, they were struggled to do stuff with her in the earlier seasons, and I think that's true because they didn't plan to have Lois in those earlier seasons. And I think once she joined the Daily Planet staff under terrible pretenses, she flew and flourished, and I think that's where the two shows become, Smallville, like Zach Moore always jokes about the Smallville years and the Metropolis years.
Mm-hmm.
I think you can really sense that with Lois's shift. It could also be the blonde years to the brunette years.
I like that.
So,
you say that you have to. It's funny that you say that you have to do that a lot with the show, because that is the case with Smallville, especially. You really just have to kind of let go of what's canon and let it be what it is, and kind of go with it. And for 10 years, fans of that show did that and happily did that. And today, they can't make up their mind if they like something. They can't make up their mind. They can't let go of what they think is supposed to be canon, or something that happened 50 years ago that should be still the norm today. You know what I mean? Like, you're fans of Smallville.
Yep.
That show did nothing normal, and you're complaining that these things aren't like what you expect or what you want it to be.
Yeah. Erica, amazing, top tier.
yeah, Yeah, she's
Now we're going to get into controversial, and that's Kate Bosworth.
I forgot about her.
I used to hate Kate Bosworth. She used to be my bottom Lois until my wife and I had a nice conversation, and she brought up some good points. And what I've come away with Kate Bosworth is she's too young to be the Lois that they were trying to do in that film. She doesn't have the gravitas that a Lois who is supposed to be a mom.
Yeah.
And she definitely plays colder to Clark.
There's that's very true. You could feel the inexperience in the acting. She was too young. The same could kind of be said about uh, Brandon Routh. They were trying to carry off of this, huge franchise of a film series when they should have just rebooted it.
Oh, it is a reboot.
Mm.
I
It's a struggle for me. It's a struggle for me to think of that.
It's a soft reboot. And that is my
They shouldn't have connected at all to the previous ones.
But the thing is, you can look at it, and we did a whole episode on it. There's not enough connective tissue for me.
Yeah. Well, it's like the idea that the multiverse, a lot of some Earths can be similar and diverge in a small way. Like the Injustice Earth, for example, was almost very, very similar to the Prime Earth. Everybody was basically the same character until the divergence happened of Superman being tricked and poisoned into killing Lois. So, I mean, it's kind of a similar thing, Brandon Routh's was on a very similar path as Reeve, but then it diverges and it's its own separate thing, kind of goes into that Crisis Kingdom
I'll buy into that
kind of universe.
I'll buy into that because it does become the Kingdom Come universe, and I'd rather buy into that than thinking Christopher Reeve Superman.
I mean, I think about it, but Tyler obsesses over it, so we talk about it. I think that's what we came up with.
I'll accept it.
I got a whole layout episode. I already did it, but you can go back and listen to my whole breakdown of
what?
Brandon Routh is his own thing.
Write me an article about it.
Fine. I will.
Twist his arm. Twist my arm.
Okay.
I'll do it. I'll have to go back and listen to I got my notes here somewhere. I think.
Perfect.
I might still have it. I might still have them saved somewhere. I gotta check. But I just, yeah. So okay. So moving on from her. We have next would be Amy Adams.
Amy Adams.
I think Amy Adams does well.
Mm-hmm.
In the first Man of Steel. I think after that, she really gets diminished.
Yeah.
In her role, her importance. And the one thing I do like about her Lois is that she's older than Superman. But at the same time, I just feel like you said earlier, I feel like it was Amy Adams and not really Lois Lane.
Yeah. Yeah. It really struggled with that because we didn't get a lot of screen time with her or a lot of development with her. I felt like she was great being a part of the story, being inserted into that. Like Superman's origin was her, she was there for every step of the way in Man of Steel, and I did enjoy that. I did enjoy the weight that Lois had in that universe. But like you said, if we're going off of theatrical cuts of movies alone, they chopped her off at the knees. Like they just were like, we don't want her in the story that much anymore. She's just there. She's an extra character for when Superman's around, and I think the ultimate cut kind of healed a lot of that wound for me in Batman versus Superman because she was figuring out that Lex was behind everything and revealing that. And then in Zack Snyder's Justice League, her importance was reinvigorated for me too. being the person that brings Superman's soul back. But all I could still see was Amy Adams playing Lois Lane in these scenes, and it was taking me out of it too much because I couldn't get past Amy Adams. I kept seeing the fat sucking zombie and Giselle and Amy Adams. Yeah, she did great, but she was too well known.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, unfortunately,
everyone
some
can be a-
actors, some actors have that, with people, and it's like that you can't see them as anything,
Yeah.
not, or you can't picture them as what they're trying to be. It's something separate from who they are.
All right.
What are your guys' opinion on her in those movies?
I really liked Amy Adams. I thought she was really smart, especially Man of Steel. I mean, sadly, her role was diminished overall over the movies. I don't think it was necessarily the plan to be so epic and grand and operatic, at least out of the gate. With Man of Steel, I don't think it was. The fact of being forced to create an entire universe in 3 movies on his shoulders, with barely any extra content with other films like Suicide Squad that had no real attachment to the films except for the mention that Superman is dead, and then Wonder Woman, but that being a pretty standalone story. He was given that there was so much story to be told, and the person they picked to do it does this visual and operatic storytelling with so many. He tells the story in different ways through the dialogue, through the characters in their body language, and just the situations without any dialogue. I mean, like that's the way it's. So there was so much to be done that she got pushed to the side. But in Man of Steel, I think she is really great. Like I said, I think she is really smart. She's forceful. She stands up for herself. And yeah, she's just, the only thing is their little kiss. But other than that, that was a cheesy moment. But
yeah, their chemistry was off too. That's what threw me off in that movie franchise a lot. It felt forced at times.
So, and then the only other scene that they had that was intimate and romantic was the scene in the tub in BVS. Other than that, they barely did anything but stand next to each other, and they hardly spoke too. But it was about the world. It was about everything else going on. It was him being in the world. Him trying to be that light and that controversial figure in the world.
But hold
on. You're right about them just, like standing next to each other. I did feel more of a natural chemistry come from them when he came back from the dead and she's like hugging him or touching his shoulders and it's like, let's just go.
Yeah.
Because I feel like if they had more scenes like that, where we did get it in Superman, these we'll talk about it more, but these scenes where Lois and Superman are showing their love to each other and communicating and being in love, like the audience wouldn't be scared to see that. It thrived, and when Amy and Henry did that those scenes were great as well, like them in the cornfield,
Mm-hmm.
or him walking away, like telling her to get away from him in the desert when Zod and his army was coming to take him to space. Like, just the hand holding in that scene was great. And now I'm kind of second guessing my thoughts on their chemistry, because I think my thoughts on their lack of chemistry is because they had the lack of scenes with
Mm.
opportunity for chemistry. It's
Yeah.
either he was dead
Definitely.
or
or like being
Fine.
totally conflicted.
Yeah.
He's I mean, the thing you can definitely say is they were shot very well together.
Mm-hmm.
The blocking, the framing, the hand holds, the way that she's looking up to him when they are standing face to face, just the two of them, with nothing
Yeah.
but the basically the
Oh
sky,
man.
the horizon in the background, the cornfield after he comes back to life and finally remembers who he is. Yeah, they
Yeah.
and being in the actual cornfield,
Yes.
I think that worked together for their chemistry. I think people see some of that stuff with the reshoots where people are just like kind of being there because they have to be there. I think
Yeah.
you feel that in those scenes, and I think that taints some of those ideas from previous scenes and previous moments that you've seen them and spent with them. But they they just they almost feel magnetic
Yep.
towards each other.
Yes.
All right. All right. The next big Lois to discuss is.
Look at that. We brought Amy Adams back up a bit.
I know we did.
Oh,
Y'all did
Look
great.
at that.
Woo. She still has to tinkle. It's the Pentagon. Bitsy Tulloch. Now, I will say when they cast her, I was like, for real? Because I wasn't a huge fan of her on Grimm. Like,
I didn't see Grimm.
I think she did well, but I was like, okay. And then when she came on the show, I was like, oh, cool. Okay, good. Yeah, I like it. And then when Superman and Lois itself, I was blown away, not only with her and Tyler's chemistry, but just her strength, her portrayal of a strong character, and then a Lois now that is a mother and, has been living this life as the reporter, the wife, the mom, just brought a whole new dynamic to the character that we needed. But I really think it's the relationship of her and Tyler that just felt real and authentic.
Yeah, she is, technically tied with Erica Durance playing Lois Lane for about 6 years of television. And when she was cast, I loved her casting, because I thought she looked so much like Margot Kidder that it was such a good classic casting of the character. I did not see Grimm, so I didn't know. This is why I did that experiment with Rachel Brosnahan, because I didn't know who Bitsy Tulloch was, and that helped me to like fall in love with the character. Same with Erica Durance. I had no idea who she was back in the day. And the minute she climbed up that ladder and said, "You'll catch me," to Superman in that crossover episode on the Kent family farm from Smallville, I was in love with her. I was like, she is great. And then her in Crisis talking, like when she bumps into Brandon Routh Superman, and that interaction made me love her even more. And then her portrayal throughout that crossover was great. But my what sealed the deal for me was Superman and Lois. It was first time in decades that Lois Lane got a title with Superman on a TV show. And she really lived up to that honor that they served the character with the title. She embodied Lois Lane like I have never seen before, but also captured all the moments or all the Loises I have seen before. And it was great to see Lois in her later years with Superman, but it was even great to watch them live and grow old together throughout that show as well. And now I'm kind of thinking she might be bubbling up past Erica now for me. Oh boy.
That's kind of where I fall. Like as much as I'm in love with
Zach's gonna flip
Erica portrayal and everything.
You're like tearing my heart apart.
We just know how much you love this character.
Oh,
Now you see.
look at me decide. It's like my own Sophie's choice. Is that what I'm saying?
Yeah. All right. And, that takes us back to where we got with Rachel. And I look forward to seeing more from her.
Yeah.
Because that'll really help cement where she is in the ranking, because the movie was already so, stuff with characters that I would have liked some more. And she did valuable with everything that she was given. She took advantage of every scene that she had.
Yeah, for real. She got to interact with a lot of people.
I do want to throw out this to our listeners. When we originally planned to record this and set it up, was going to be released on Lois Lane's birthday, which was the 17th of August. But just because of life, I'm technically on call this week, and as is James.
I was on call last week, so I was part of the problem last week.
Yeah.
It got shifted around. But I do want to point out something that in my notes I put up. This is our 600th episode.
Oh.
So what was it?
Nice. 600. That is.
It is crazy because people will look at it's weird because it's 600, but it's not technically if you look through all the counting, because some of the early episodes when we were part of a network they were behind, so they took two of our episodes and a couple started pushing them together and releasing them as doubles and stuff like that in our early days, where they would just take the recordings and put them together for
When did you start this podcast?
10 years ago.
Oh, congratulations. 2015 then.
Yep.
Wasn't it originally we were talking about episodes of Supergirl, right?
Yep, we were going to review Supergirl, and which we did, but then we just kept talking everything Kryptonian. And I used to just be obsessed where I'm going to crank an episode. I'll get 3 episodes out this week. I got so much to talk about. Now I'm like, okay, Tyler, just 4 a month. Okay, calm down.
Yeah.
You got a life to live too.
Yeah.
But
I get that. Burnout is a real thing.
Yeah, it is.
Rachel Brosnahan's Lois Lane. What was your guys' favorite parts on that?
I think one of my favorite parts with her, honestly, is when she has her almost identity crisis when she's talking to Mr. Terrific.
Yep.
Because she's I went there to break up with him, and then I realized I'm in love with he's I don't care. I think, and that goes back to where she's playing strong, independent, but then that's her vulnerable. But the fact that she goes to the Justice Gang and it's he needs your help. He's one of you, what are you doing? And she has no. She doesn't care.
No, she'll slap him around. It's just like that haircut.
The what? Your hair needs to take a vow.
Oh, Nathan Fillion. Fantastic.
That the Hall of Justice actually being realized for the first time too is it was just such a magnificent scene.
Yeah. One of my favorite parts with her would have to be the interview scene.
So good.
Primarily when Superman, when she says, "How do you think this is going?" and he says, "I think I'm doing well."
And
You
then
can see you could just see the freaking rage in her.
and she's like,
She's like, "Oh,
is
you
that a
think so,
challenge?
huh?"
Is that a challenge?
Yep.
Oh
Yep.
gosh.
Yeah, you could just see it. She was like, "Oh, you think so?" And
Yeah, and I love piggybacking off of your comment on that scene. Well, that's how we first get revealed that Lois and Clark and Superman. She knows that Clark is Superman. Um, but we see throughout the film them doing acts of service for each other. The love language. Like she gives him a hot cocoa in his apartment. He's making her dinner in her apartment. Um, uh, it's nice to see those scenes of them interacting and figuring things out together. It's a lot of stuff we did not get in the previous film franchise, like you pointed out earlier, and it was really refreshing to see him go to her and be inspired.
What I think is neat is there's so many, what we've talked about, different aspects of just the Lois and Clark relationship, that when you look at all of it, you really get their whole spectrum of the relationship, without looking in on just the individuals. So
you get the tension, you get the chemistry, and buckets of chemistry. And you get their romantic side. You get the action, the fighting for others together or separate, but still fighting together on different parts, like Superman fighting Ultraman and Lois fighting Injustice with the Daily Planet staff. You get a lot in those short 2 hours.
You do, and I am ready to go watch it again. But just in while we're recording, I got a little blip of news here that says James Gunn's Superman sequel is expected to begin filming in early 2026. So let's see how much truth it is to that.
You just made me stomach flip. I'm coming to Ohio if there's shooting it there again.
Oh,
Nice.
I will be there like this time. Like we put in to be extras, but there was such a high for the casting call.
I don't think I told you I was at Cedar Point a couple of weeks ago when I told you my buddy, or when I was on vacation. And we were walking past the swim park, and a woman saw my shirt, and she was like, "I was an extra in that movie when they were shooting in Cleveland," and yeah.
Jealous.
And you didn't go, "I do a podcast. Here's my card. Like, let's have you on as a guest."
I didn't have one. Yeah, no, I didn't have one.
You didn't even have your hat. You couldn't have showed her the podcast.
James, I'm dropping.
Well, sadly, these days I can't wear a red hat around. The only time I can wear a red hat is here. I can't be mistaken for, something that I'm not.
I got you.
So the only place I can wear it is here when the logo is right there. I thought about getting something on the back that was like back the F off, you know what I mean? In some form or another, not exactly that, but yeah, exactly. Maybe that's what I should do. FDJT in Kryptonian, right?
It
would be great. Then I could wear it around.
Long ago.
No, I'm actually not much of a hat guy, but
I love
show and everything. And
I'm not a super hat guy, but I feel weird like with headphones on, like the way it just pulls, and it's also just always representing the brand.
That's why I try and wear it more times when we're recording.
I wear this one so much it's starting to get a little sun faded and sweaty.
It's a great hat.
It used to have.
If I wore a hat, it'd be something.
Yeah. But
it's
I think we're gonna put a pin in it. I'm exhausted. Be honest with you guys, we could talk forever, but being on call makes me very tired
That's okay.
because I could get called at any minute. I hate it.
You never sleep.
I
Right?
don't.
You never sleep all the way when you're on call.
I
It
don't,
sucks.
and I'm feeling it right now. My energy's dropping. But Zach, man, thank you so much for being here and breaking the news with
Yes.
us today.
Thank you for inviting me.
Oh, you're always welcome. You know that. You could just be like text like, "Hey, I got stuff to say. Let me on the podcast." I'm like, "All right, let's do this." But check out the website, Zach. Why don't you go ahead and let them know where to reach
Where to find the Daily
the
Planet?
Daily Planet. Yeah,
You
so you
could
can't talk anymore.
probably just Google the Daily Planet and find us. But we are at dailyplanetdc.com. Are you going to share this as a video too?
Yeah.
Okay. We have this logo right here. So if you find that one, inspired by that building right there, you're at the right place. We're also everywhere that says at Daily Planet DC. Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you. Guys,
Yeah.
check it out. Drop Zach a line. Read some articles. Maybe one written by me. You know, never know.
You could also
Yeah,
contribute
he's got
your own
some.
article. Submit
also
your own if
contribute.
you want.
All right. And remember,
Look up in the sky, the birds, the